This is Transformers 96 here with just my thoughts on a newly shown Hot Toys figure. As you can see, it is the Avengers Age of Ultron Mark 1. So yeah, so the Ultron Mark 1. So this was a Hot Toys figure that ever since the first trailer came out, I've been crossing my fingers that they would do. And, sorry, that's my background. And at their Avengers toy event where they showed a bunch of their new items, they did show this here. So we did get confirmation about this a couple weeks back. But now we obviously have the full official photos and details and price and everything like that. So as you can see, it is looking great. One thing that you'll definitely notice in these pictures is that he isn't in any sort of pose, and not just like a dynamic pose. He's not in any sort of stance or anything. He is just straight up standing there. His head is just facing forward completely. There isn't a single image that they show him where his head is even tilted. So this, I'm guessing this is a non-articulated prototype. They're probably very early in on the development process of this figure, which is why we're really just getting the shots of the detail in it and not like the poses or anything. My guess is, and he also has a release date which is scheduled for May or to July of 2016, which is very far out. Sometimes Hot Toys does put things out, more than a year in advance, but this is, just super far out. So I think that there's a decent chance that possibly they did that because on a normal figure they would have to wait until they got the articulation in the prototype so that they could pose it for the pictures. But on this one, because the big wow factor about this figure is the details, so possibly they thought, why not just put it on pre-order early, because they could just take the pictures of him standing and he'd still look great because the main attraction is the detail. Overall, he is looking great, and from what I've seen from the trailers, because the movie has not released in the United States quite yet, but from what I can see in the trailers, this does look extremely accurate and just looking quite wonderful. He has gone up for pre-order on Sideshow. He is $250. Pretty decent price, I have to say. I was expecting $290 to $310. Just because he's, extremely detailed. He is an armor, which is always, going to cost more than a just an average figure. And then the just absolute crazy amount of detailing, as well as he does get a rather sort of large accessory with him. So I thought all of that together would end up at a very high $200 price tag. And that they did it pretty reasonable. I mean, $250 is about the normal price of a regular Iron Man figure, back when the first Avengers came out. So I think that's a pretty decent price for this, considering prices have gone way up since then. Here's just a nice image of obviously what you get. That they show all the front and back of the figure, as well as the close-up on the face, and then just other pictures of the detail on him, as well as his accessories. He doesn't come with much, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he didn't come with anything. Obviously, he's going to come with a stand. It is a basic stand. It's no diorama or anything like that, which I expected. I don't, a diorama stand for this guy would be a little weird and wasted. But one item that I was, I was hoping he was coming with, but, I definitely didn't think that he would, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he didn't. But he does come with it, which is awesome. It's the damaged Iron Legion figure, or armor, which is super cool. Of course, from what we've seen in the trailer, he, he talks to the Avengers after they've, when they're partying, and then he comes out, talks to them for a little bit, and then just Iron Legion armor start busting through the walls and attack him. So, and then obviously I guess the Avengers are going to destroy him, and then he goes and picks one up, looks at it, and then squeezes its head until the faceplate pops off of it. And here's obviously the images from the trailer. So overall, looking very cool. Super glad that they included this armor, and just really neat. And we are going to get full Iron Legion armors, which is cool. I'm sure they're going to look wonderful with Ultron. The Mark 1 Ultron, so I am very excited to get them as well. I will be interested to see if he will be able to pop the helmet off of the Iron Legion accessory so that you can see all this detail inside. That would be really awesome. And then As far as articulation goes, I don't really, this guy's going to be hard to articulate for Hot Toys, and I'll show you the picture of the figure in just a second, all the detail and everything. He's got so much going on and so many pistons and stuff, it's going to be really hard to articulate him. Really all I want to do is put him in this pose, just, where he's walking out, feet are a little angled towards each other, as well as a little bit of bend at the knees. He's, about slouching forward, the head is slightly tilted, the arm without the hand is, bent and just up against his chest, and then the other arm has a slight bend and is really just hanging down. So not very dynamic, but still it says a lot. It's very creepy and it's very cool. And I doubt that this guy is gonna do any fighting or anything in this movie. So I would imagine that a lot of people would display him like that. But I do think that he is going to be quite hard to articulate. As you can see, I don't know how they can articulate this torso. It would just be super difficult. Maybe they've got a ball joint up here. I don't really know how it would work, though. He's got so many pistons going into his shoulders and on both sides, as well as these legs. I mean, I can't imagine that they'll do anything but swivel, just, forward and back, which is really all I need for that pose. My only worry is I hope that there is a way that you can bend his feet towards each other, and then he'll obviously easily be able to have a knee hinge. I'm sure he'll just have some relatively simple hinges at the elbows. I'm hoping this elbow has a relatively large hinge so that he can get the arm up close to his chest like in the shot in the trailer. And then I hope that his head can tilt, and from what you can see in that picture, his head isn't tilted an extreme amount or anything, so just a slight tilt will be great. I'm sure they'll be able to do that, and then, this arm will be easy to pose. So I believe that, just based on some simple articulation, he will be able to pose well. He only has 24 points of articulation, a little bit less than the average one. Typically an average one has 30, so, slightly less, which you'd expect from this level of detail, as well as he's, missing a wrist, too, so, there's a little bits of details, or little bits of articulation that's not in this figure because he's not complete, but I think he looks wonderful. I think it's going to be really cool. He might not be the most fun figure, being that he is just, he's not a character that fights in the movie, or at least I'm guessing that he's not going to fight, in this mode, obviously. So, he's mostly going to be a display piece, but I think that he will be a brilliant display piece at that. I'm super excited for this guy. Cannot wait to get him. Cannot wait to see the movie, just because as soon as I see that movie, I'm going to be so pumped for this guy, I'm sure. So really excited that they are making the Mark 1. Disappointed that it's going to take so long to come out. Pretty happy about the price, though. I mean, these Age of Ultron figures they become very hard to guess the price of, because either they're very expensive, figures like that being Ultron Prime, as well as, the Mark 43, that was quite expensive. And then you've got some that are pretty decently priced, like the Hulk, Mark 1, the Captain America is pretty decently priced when you compare them to the Stealth. There's just, some figures that are high priced and some that are, relatively reasonable. So, it's just kind of hit or miss depending on which figures you get. You might get lucky with the price tag, because they might be a pretty decent price. Overall, stoked for this figure. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks for watching.